What's up, everybody? How you doing? Dr. Maxwell here with another edition of Bring the Smoke. And we got my friend over here, Miss Kyrus. Man, I'm going to just let her tell you who she is because she do so many different things.
Oh my gosh. No. Okay. So I am Pastor Kyrus of Favor Nation Church. What do? I do podcasts. I do a podcast on Monday called After the Word, or Afterward, with our church and some of my other colleagues and co-hosts. I have my own relationship podcast called Live with Kyrus, and our focus is relationship meds. So meds stands for married, engaged, dating, and single. And that is my heart and my focus. But today I'm here with Dr. Maxwell because his story has provoked me to want to push him to do an interview.
Well, thank you so much. So basically, it's my show, but she the boss, so she going to kind of walk us through whatever we supposed to do today. Meds, I like that. Meds, man,
Yeah.
That's dope because a lot of us need our meds.
And a lot of us do need our meds, and relationships can heal or they can hurt, but it just depends on where you're coming from. And I think in listening to your story, and I was like, Maxwell, you've got to tell the people kind of where you've been. Where does this come from? Where did your books come from? I think we're looking at your now, but we don't know your then. And so I'm very excited to hear part of your journey today.
Wow. Well, that's dope. She's trying to go back through the history. So you're right, because I can't, and that's probably why they say Jesus said a prophet is not without honor except in his own hometown.
Come on.
And I think God sometimes uproots us and moves us to places that no one knows us, so they won't be like, hey, is that not the carpenter's son? Because really they just throwing digs on Jesus. Like, you know good and well, Mary was no virgin, and he could do all these miracles on one side of the lake and heal so many people, came to the other side where his hometown was, and they said Jesus couldn't even do that many miracles, and he marveled at their unbelief. And so the amazing thing is, I don't feel bad when sometimes maybe I can't reach some of the people I know, or when you pray and heal some of the people you know, because God said he has mercy on who he chooses and hard to hearts on who he chooses.
That's a good word.
And so when people get so familiar with you that they don't understand who you are, it doesn't bother me because they didn't know Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Jesus just got through healing all these people, man, went across the lake and couldn't do nothing because they knew who his mama and daddy was. They knew his sisters and brothers. Man, I remember him when he was at Tri-Cities. Man, I remember him when he was at Georgia Southern. Man, I remember him when he used to go to Freaknik and all that stuff. So, a lot of times people just can't receive what it is you have because they want to keep you where you used to be. And so sometimes God will just bring you out of the shadows into the light somewhere else so you can do what it is that you do.
Well, okay, so you said something when you're saying they couldn't receive Jesus, but I do think that the times are changing, and I believe people in generations prior wanted the facade, but the generations that we're speaking to, witnessing, and want in the church, in ministry, in the workforce, they want the truth, and the truth is all of you. The truth isn't just a part or a portion, because you're a man, but you pastor. You're a man, but you are a real estate broker. But you've also, you've been a son. You've been a friend. You're a counselor. You're a boss. He calls me a boss, but this is a boss. So when you're thinking in that aspect, how I want to get your story out because I believe you could help someone who's not welcome in their own home.
Ooh.
Because now they would champion you in your own home, where before is all they could remember is the Freaknik, is the Georgia Southern, is, those other maybe past chapters, but the past chapters bring the full book circle, bring the book full circle. So in this book of life that you're living, and still God has, already written it, but you're still walking it out. So when I think about that part and that portion, I don't want to dismiss that, and I don't want anyone to ever dismiss that, because sometimes I believe when we have titles and we have accolades and you have many degrees and you are just well accomplished, people think that you can't relate to them. But you, I believe, could speak to the person who's homeless, and you could also speak to the person who's buying the $1 billion home. So I want to kind of know where did this all come from? Because like I said, we're looking at the now, but we don't know the then. So how did this start? And I don't even mean just getting to Newport News, but where did it start? Where did it start as a little boy? Did you already know you wanted to pastor?
She went.
I mean, he's a comedian too,
good.
so there's going to be a lot of funny things.
But the thing about it is, no one has ever gone there when I was a little boy. So I never wanted to pastor, and we can get to that part later. But I did know I just had different gifts.
Okay.
Once I realized what discernment was, I was like, wow. I always knew when somebody didn't like me, grown or young. I would always know. But what I had to learn how to do was suppress it.
You mean people didn't like you? And I believe that's hard to believe because he's a likable, lovable guy.
Hey, people don't like everybody, especially when you're successful. And I would know what adults meant good for me and who didn't.
Okay.
And sometimes I would say stuff too early, because when you say it too early, people can change and kind of, change their ways.
Take a note. Wait, let's pause.
Right.
Don't talk too early.
Don't talk too early.
Don't talk too early and don't talk too much.
Because you gotta let it unfold. Because when you gifted, you see stuff way before other people. And like the reason why I like the X-Men so much, they always had to learn how to control their gifts. And some of your gifts is you gotta learn how to keep it quiet and just ask certain questions in front of people so you can kind of unfold it so they can start figuring out.
I'm a Marvel girl. So
then Mama would be like, oh man, they don't. But I would know. I learned how to ask questions down the line. But anyway, so I probably was 6 years old. 6 years old, because we had just moved to East Point. And I had a dream. I had a dream that my dad drove the car, and the car blew up at McDonald's.
Jesus.
But he was okay. He crawled out from under it. So I told my dad, hey, don't drive that car, because that car going to blow up. But you're going to be okay. Now, mind you, I'm glad he did drive that car, because that car would have blew up in the garage, then all of us probably would have died anyway. He drove that car, and then it blew up when he was in Burger King, so I was close. I had one junk food place, but I said McDonald's, but it happened at Burger King.
You knew where it was going. You said
I was close.
Some fast food.
Yeah, it was a Whopper, but it wasn't Big Mac. And so he crawled. So he went in there to buy food, and it blew up. And then he came in the house first thing. How did you know that? How did you know that? Like, I put the bomb in there, like I'm Chucky or something. You know what I'm saying?
He was checking for you.
I was offended. You know what I'm saying? But so after a while, I'd say certain things, and I started suppressing my gifts because people didn't understand or didn't believe, and it made me feel weird. Like, I can watch like something like Constantine, the movie Constantine, where he could see demons, and I just start crying because I'd be just thinking when I was a little kid, and I would see stuff and people wouldn't understand, and I didn't understand. And so one day me and Dad driving, and this lady's walking. And I said, hey, Dad, you got to get ready to swerve because she's going to fall. Because I see it. She's going to fall. And so she falls right across the street. He swerves and misses her. Turn around. It's my friend's grandmother. It's Barnabas White. His name Barnabas.
Barnabas, that's interesting.
He want to be Barnabas now, but we call the nigga Barney. That was your name when I knew you. That's your name now. But anyway, Barney's grandma.
Somebody get him.
Nah, he gonna be pissed about that one. B, I'm gonna say B. So anyway, his grandma. Can you imagine my dad having to go say we ran over your grandmother? But then when we get her home, he says, man, it probably just the way she was walking, you knew she was gonna fall. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't limping or nothing. Because if she was walking funny, you would have noticed. But either way it goes, it was just so many different things that God would show me at a little young age, and I would start suppressing it because no one really was cultivating the gift.
Okay.
And so who knows where I would be if it was being cultivated. But, fast forward, God called me again.
Go ahead.
You
Can we pause? Okay.
Can we pause?
Because I think he just gave us a lot.
It's my show.
He just told me it was interview.
I just ran.
So which one is y'all put in the comments? We're gonna take a poll a little bit later. It's not live, but when you see it, when you see it years from now,
no, it ain't gonna be years. It's live. Go ahead.
I would like for you to put this in the comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments.
But so you gave us a lot. Because you're saying that you had these gifts and there was always an excuse or a reason why you knew these things. So did your parents not grow up in church? Did they not grow up having the unction of the Holy Spirit or in the prophetic or with dreams and interpretation and
She trying to get me a whooping.
I'm not. I mean, but I understand because there's I'm not trying to get you in trouble, but you're gonna
Did
say
they not
some
go
people.
to church? Well, they heathens.
Well, but they could have gone to church and loved
That's
the
it.
Lord.
That's it.
They could have gone to
They
church
went to
and loved the Lord.
It's-
Had reverence for him, but not had an understanding and had a revelation
better watch
of
out.
certain things. So when I'm asking because no disrespect, parents, but
whatever.
I'm
Too late.
asking because and there are parents that are watching. There's parents that are watching.
Yes,
There's
you're right.
teens that are watching that have been suppressed. There's young adults. There's older adults. There are individuals that are 50 and up, and they're like, I knew I had something, and I wasn't just daydreaming. It wasn't just me, and I didn't miss. I really did know what I was talking about because she wasn't leaning, And so the thing is, sometimes parents will lean to their own understanding and try to figure something out instead of really seeking out the Holy Spirit and seeking out God for what's happening and cultivating that in their children. Because who knows? I think you are a great man, but where could you have been at that age and at that time had someone really pushed you? So I'm not. I just am asking, and I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
I'm just messing
but I think that's
in
great.
Atlanta, though. No, go ahead. We're gonna block this for the ATL viewers. Now, seriously, though, no. Seriously, we went to church.
Okay.
I can't say we went to powerful churches. I mean, even now, just to be honest, the tradition I got to cut through in order to get where we going with New Beach Grove is, and maybe God had me there because. God grew Paul up in the Jewish customs, but he called him to be with the Gentiles.
Right.
And Paul would say, every time I try to do what I'm supposed to do, something rise up in me that makes me do what I'm not supposed to do. I don't think he really was just talking about sin. A lot of us reduce that down to sin. But Paul being a Jew, called to the Gentiles, a lot of the Jewish people would tell him he shouldn't be doing certain things, especially to Peter. Right, so the different customs. So every time he's trying to do what God called him to do, his Jewish customs begin to rise up, traditions. So that's how sometimes with Baptists it do. I'm brought to pray in the Spirit. I'm about to do this, and then it's like I oppress myself, or I'm being oppressed by that traditional spirit of we don't believe in certain gifts. So they think that the gifts died with the apostles, but really the gifts were birthed with the apostles. Like, dude, that was their birthday, so they're gonna be born and die at the same time. I mean, man, what a short life. Just might well call this the instead of the day of Pentecost, the day of Pentecostal abortion.
Right.
So with that said, my mom and dad are very practical, analytical people, which I get a lot of my practical, analytical side from.
And he has a good amount of
Right.
that.
And I dated this young lady for years, and her family was very spiritual. I believe that's what makes me so balanced. My family, all the way natural, all the way mathematical, all the way this. Their family, all the way spiritual. Man, we don't have any money to pay this bill. You just bought a $10,000 rug, your bill hanging on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Yet, they were very spiritual, though. But practical, not so much. Mom, dad, very practical, spiritual, not so much. It's even hard for me to pray for them for healing and over the phone and things of that nature because of the naturalness that happens. So let me tell you a story about my mom and dad when they had a bad accident. Dad blacked out. It's 2018. Or it might have been, 2018. We're in the process of buying the building we in now. Trying to close. They have a horrific accident. Dad passes out, hits an AT&T truck, and it had the braces down, so the car not moving.
Wow.
He going downhill. For y'all who in the ATL, he down about me and you down a couple of years ago on Headland and the low. They were going down Headland, coming from the low, so you know that big hill, and they hit the truck, and the boom falls on the car. If you look at the car, you won't even think they would survive.
They shouldn't have.
I'm about to go home to see my mom and dad. God says, no. Your prayer print can make it where your footprints never go. You have a church to build, and whenever the shepherd is hit, the sheep will scatter. I go to the church.
Your prayer, can we hold on?
Go ahead.
What, you're dropping so many nuggets.
Go ahead.
Your prayer print will hit where your footprint.
Right. Your prayer print can go places your footprints never tread. So you don't have to go to where it is, the situation. When you pray from here, you can drop a bomb in Atlanta for Newport News. And so God told me I couldn't go. I went in there in the middle of the night. I pray. God tells me, they say my mom's sternum is cracked. I pray. God says, because you honor me, I'm healing them. I call my aunt. I say, tell them to test my mom's sternum again, because it's not going to be. Now wait till I get this part of the story. She is going to show you that it's healed. They go back. They go to another doctor. It's healed. Mama says it probably will never crack no way. You know what I'm saying? So they still in that natural state. Nobody gonna tell you your sternum cracked if it's not cracked.
And you're not even there.
That's a bone that can't heal. So you know if your sternum is cracked, they like, oh my God, you 70 something years old. We about to just say peace out. You understand?
But even in that, hold on.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Again, this is you having spiritual, supernatural x-ray and download from the Holy Spirit, because that's not a word someone who's not in the medical field is going to use. Are you in the medical field?
Nope.
So then then your mom is like, oh, okay. I guess I'm just looking at all the times where you've had to go through adversity.
Right.
And even in your own close circle. So again, this is you giving advice from a whole nother states away, thousands of miles away, and the Holy Spirit is downloading things.
Then I go, I'm still in there. I don't know what's going on with my dad. To this day, I can't tell you. My aunt can tell you, so we might need to call her and interview her over the phone.
Okay.
I tell my aunt, Olivia, I say, hey, tell the doctor to do this and this and this. I don't know, because I'm prayed up. This is in the middle of the night. I'm over here. It's 11 o'clock at night. Dad in the hospital. I said, do this, this, and this. She was like, how you even know about that? I don't know, the Spirit telling me this. So then she says, well, I ain't working no more as boss as you are. You in there already telling them, I need you to go in there and tell them what I said. She goes in there and tell them what I say. The doctor says, how do you know this? My nephew was praying and told me. Whatever I said, they did it, and my dad was good. Let's fast forward it. This happens sometime at the end of the week. I think I'm praying on a Friday or Saturday night, so it must have happened on Friday or Saturday. I go to church. We in the midst of building, of buying this building that we in now. I done had a deacon pass out his resignation while a funeral is processing in. God, I was the whole time, Eugene, I'm sitting up there like, why am I preaching for real? Because when I do funeral sermons, I preach for real, but I don't, it's 10, 12, 13 minutes. Yeah. But I'm going in. You have a
sermon. You're exhorting.
Right. And I'm like, man, why is the anointing pulling on me?
Yeah.
And somebody was telling me, I don't want to say the whole story because I don't want to put the person's name out there because, we keep the names away to protect the guilty, not the innocent when you're talking as a preacher. And so,
ooh, that's a whole word.
And so he passed out his resignation. So I had to go back writing letters to clean stuff up. Now, this person is dead. You are passing out your resignation to members as they process into a funeral. You don't give it to me or whatever. So all this stuff going on, Sunday morning, 3 or 4 people that had already left the church that's trying to start mess, they show up. And the other church is small, so you can see everything. So I'm sitting there. This one dude comes. He turned around. A few minutes later, one lady comes. She turned around. So really what they were doing was everybody heard that my mom and dad had an accident, so they assumed I wasn't going to be there. Mm-hmm. But God wanted me to be there to keep order. Yeah. Because even when we launched the Catholic campaign, another deacon passed out his resignation while we launched the campaign. And, just straight out of order, childish, demonic spirits. Yeah. Because they don't want to see the change. And what happens is, and see, people say they act like this when you weren't there. Let me tell you something. When Jesus stepped on the scene with the man with the epileptic seizures, the demons began to throw him into convulsion. Why?
Exactly.
Because when a lesser spirit sees a greater spirit in
Come
the
on.
midst, it know it
You're
gotta
preaching
leave.
good.
So it's gonna start making it feel like you're not gonna get delivered. Also, when Jesus stepped on the scene with the man that had the money, that had all those different demons in him, he said, "What's your name?" He said, "Legion." Yeah. Then once you step on the scene, those people who have already been demonic, they have to reveal to you who they are. They have no choice. So they're going to either reveal to you by telling you who they are, or they're going to reveal you by acting it out, because your anointing going to make them act the fool, because that light is going to make them suffer. You understand? So anyway, back to what I'm saying. So,
but wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Because then too, you have these dead people passing out something during a funeral. So when I'm thinking about this, this is you're bringing life and light. And so where do they feel comfortable doing something? So it says, what is it? Let the dead bury the dead? Yeah. So then you have someone who is dying, or something that is dying out, also being buried in that same ceremony.
Wow.
At that same moment, you have someone doing something. And even though we should be, honoring them, remembering them, it's a memorial, but you passing out your resignation, you're killing something off. It's something that's already dead. It's the dead and the dead together. Mm. Because you didn't do it in the middle of a church service. You didn't do it at baptism, where life was being given. You didn't do it at a baby dedication, where you heard new cries. You're not doing this in a place where you're seeing new birth take place. Mm. Even though you're at new birth. But they like to keep something an old way. But you know what, Maxwell? Dr. Maxwell.
Say what you say.
I'm just saying, but I'm looking at all of these things constantly trying to kill something off in you. Your dreams, your visions, the Holy Spirit giving you words, wisdom, knowledge, unctioning, and then you're up there preaching and you're really going for it. Where someone would say, basically, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. They were a great member. We're gonna miss them, and bless the family and give you some fried chicken. You're really going in and attempting to edify the people, while the deacons are going around trying to bury more. Because you have to think what the people that they're taking from new birth, while you're trying to give new life and new light, they're going to take them to new deaths. So they're going to be dying over and over and over and over again, following dead people.
Wow, what's so wild is this same deacon, the reason why he left, catch this. He said the church growing too fast and too many people getting saved.
So there's life. His life abundantly.
Dude, he left because the church is growing too fast and too many people are getting saved. It's like, so you don't want the kingdom of God to be expanded. And people said, what do you say when he said that? I said, bye. What else could I say?
Right on the
I'm
tombstone.
not begging you to stay and you don't want to be there, especially when you bring in death to the people.
Yeah, it's true. But I just think, what did they say about the priest? You're not supposed to touch dead things.
Yeah.
So then you put your touch at a dead thing. So where are you out of order, even in what God has called us to do in the church and in the body of Christ? You're putting your touch in a dead place. Even though they'll call it a celebration of life, they knew where the grieving would be. So then they harp on that. So I'm already grieving the person that we're burying today, and now I'm going to be grieving the loss of someone else as well. So our deacons. It's another thing falling apart. When people lose something, there's a piece of your life wherever they were filling that gap, that void, that relationship with that person that you're burying that day. There's a break in that, right? There's a breach in whatever your normal circle and routine is, and so then they come in to break down pillars, and to unscrew the bolts and whatever they're supposed to be upholding at new birth, and even in the body of Christ as a deacon. And they're attempting to break down
a new birth, or you calling us new birth? Because you know where newbies grow. Okay, I'm trying to make.
No, I'm saying, but I'm saying it's a new birth, because one, you're in a new building. You're trying to do something very different. You're teaching financial courses. You're teaching people about real estate. You're teaching people about saving. You're trying to break people out of poverty. That's a mindset. That's a dead way of thinking. So even though I know you're at New Beach Grove, I believe that when you came from Atlanta and just all of the things that transpired to get you here, there was new birth taking place. And when he says it's growing too much, you look at a pregnant woman and you look at her womb, and though you don't hear a baby's cry and you don't see a number added to the population yet, once she gives birth, then that brings something new into the earth. So while it still has a heartbeat, and you can talk about, all the other laws with that on a separate time, but he's saying that he's looking at something grow. He's looking at your church be pregnant. He's looking at things birthing, and what's his reason? It's too fast. It's too quick. It's too much. It's too vast. Well, he can't be in the delivery room. And so he killed himself off, aborted himself and his mission, but attempted to do that with you as well. And so I'm just thankful that didn't work. Okay. How do we get... There's so many.
No, I'm glad you got there.
Stories.
I just wanted to make sure they knew, because I used to
we're
work
in New Beach. He's at New
ATL
Beach Grove.
Now, I know you know the answer.
Okay.
I knew you knew the answer, but sometimes people be like, "See, I know he used to be there. He there now." So
No, but we're talking about new birth, and somebody's saying.
Yeah, I know you know.
Doing something at a funeral.
Right.
Because that's not new. That's not new birth. I mean, you're gonna get your crowns and glory, but we can't see him here. Okay. So coming from Atlanta. Okay, so we talked about you in childhood, and I know we didn't even get a chance to go all the way into that, and your parents, going to church and just their mindset, their beliefs, or whatever they had or didn't have. And I believe that they're working with what they had to cultivate what they believe they saw in you. Right. And then just thinking about maybe how they were raised, I'm sure that changed some things and what God was attempting to do in you versus what the tools and the arsenals they had to work with. Right. Because you really only have whatever weapons in your arsenal that you're given over time, unless you go and you take some, unless you go and you purchase some and grab some on your own. So they probably were only working with whatever they had in their armory, to create this weapon, Dr. Maxwell, this weapon for the kingdom. So in that, I know you do comedy. And so I want to touch on that a little bit and we'll come back to ministry. But how did that all play? And I know you were an athlete. So attempting to be the young Maxwell, what did that look like? Can you give the people an example of what that was? Because you sound like you were a triple threat. So I want to know. I want to hear it all.
Well, the funny thing is, I always was playing sports. Dad put me in soccer first, because he said to get your leg coordination together, which is good because you need footwork and
your cardio.
Yep, and cardio. I played baseball 7 and 8 because I realized I needed glasses. That's why I be swinging late. Man, I'm saying one of my favorite games. Your
eye-hand coordination.
So back in the day when you 7 and 8, you only could bat around to 9 batters. Even if they didn't get 3 outs, you can't do it. So I'm the 9th batter that inning. Bases loaded. We losing by 3. Either if I walk, we lose. If I strike out, we lose. If I hit a base hit, we lose. I got to hit a flipping home run. I'm there. I'm sitting. It's 3 and flipping 2, son. 3 and 2, full count. I got to swing. I knew I couldn't walk. So the last ball was high. So then I hit the ball because I knew I couldn't. My little mind, boom, right over the first base line, hit a home run. Dude, run around the bases. Now, when you get the baseballs, you get big lead chew. So kids would run in there and get the baseball. Dad outran everybody. Dad said, bump all them kids. Dad then went through the people and got it and got the daggone baseball and made sure he gave it to me. Then one day, I was done but then played with the ball and lost it. But when you start looking back on stuff, I've never in my life ever again hit a grand slam. That's like sometimes a one-time event, even in professional baseball people's lives. And he ran out there in the water and he got the daggone baseball for me. Yet I didn't understand the value of it. Right? So I didn't even understand the value of what he had brought to me. And I think throughout college, throughout Georgia Southern, the gifts I had, I would use them for the wrong reasons. I knew what woman I could take home, one night stand, and my friends would start jumping in front of me, and be like, "Take the woman." So one time, I know this. I probably
and my heart is relationships. So I can't wait to hear
one time I go into this lady who I knew was a good girl, a young lady like you. She was real nice, very wholesome, and I did it. And so my friend jumped in front of her. and she maced that dude. She maced him. His eyes were all swelled up. He was like, Maxwell, I know you did that on purpose. I know you did that. I said, what you talking about? Yeah, you did. I said, yep, y'all need to stop following me all the time. But I didn't understand the value of my gifts.
So they wanted the fallout. They
Right.
wanted the girls. They wanted
Right.
you to try it, and maybe you didn't like this girl, and they would be okay and like them. How did this work?
Oh,
This little
she
system.
missed the whole thing. I know you called her because you a dude. Let me say it slow for the women. So,
Because I'm trying to find this system.
yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I discern. I know.
was a system.
I know who the super freaks are because I had a gift of discernment. So
okay.
I go up to dance with the
freaknik.
lady, and they know I know I'm gonna take that lady home.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah, make it plain for us.
it was already plain. The men caught it.
Well, I'm a woman,
Yeah, so you didn't.
and I'm the good girl.
And I'm
So,
trying to
hey,
say
I
it
don't even
fast
think like this.
and get out of there. So I go up to a young lady who I know is good and wholesome because I know they coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I didn't wear my glasses at the time because I ain't want to wear my glasses. I ain't like my glasses. So I couldn't hardly see no
Man,
way.
glasses are nice looking
Yeah.
on you. Wear them.
Well, thank you. Well, I got them now because I needed. Cause I had got LASIK. That's why I didn't wear them when I was here because I went and got LASIK because I knew I had to go to Africa and stuff and I didn't want the dirt in my eyes. Anyway, back to the story.
Well, praise the Lord.
I go in front, the young lady. So this lady's a good girl. So he jumps in and starts grabbing and freaking on her. And she maced this dude. And he said, Maxwell, I know you did that on purpose. I know you did it on purpose. You knew she wasn't wild like that. I'm like, what you talking about? He said, man, I know you know. I said, yeah, I knew. Stop doing that, man. Shoot, find your own. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here just going out here like I'm Luke Skywalker. I can't even see. But I got to give her this.
Yeah, give
Yeah.
it a sermon.
So I didn't know
he's
the
like, she
Yeah.
hot, she not. We're gonna
right,
try
exactly.
that out.
I ain't know the value of my gifts, and I perverted my gifts. But God said He give you the gifts without repentance.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful when God give you certain powers. You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna be Magneto? But I still like Magneto.
Yeah,
Or
like
you gonna be
Magneto, too. He had a
Professor
good heart
X?
originally.
He still
he had a good reason for
Yeah,
how
yeah,
he was
exactly.
trying to protect people, but you
Yeah.
don't want to protect them to hurt
So
them.
are you
lot.
gonna be? Let me see somebody else. What's the dude, man? Sabretooth. You gonna be Saber?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna
He
be
got lost in the
Wolverine?
sauce.
Yeah. So anyway, the thing about it is how you
So,
gonna use
I have
your.
a question though. But
Yeah.
did you come behind
Are
him
you gonna
and
be
like,
the Legion of Doom or are you gonna be the Super Friends? That's it. That's a good
it's
one.
a lot of super
Are you,
happening.
yeah, are you gonna be Superman or Lex Luthor?
We got a
You know
lot
what
of
I'm saying?
supers
Are you gonna be
happening,
Batman or
okay?
the Joker? I got you.
You're gonna be a superhero or super freak. I'm just not sure.
Oh.
Everybody choose wisely because there's a lot
Hallelujah.
of super out there.
All right.
But okay, so wait, I have one more question
I
about
don't know if
this.
this is gonna make it or not.
We gotta get back on course.
Go ahead, we on course. I don't know how they went over there. I just talking about perverting the gifts. Hey,
But
what?
would you come? Okay, I just want to know, like, would you come behind your friend and be like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you, girl. Come on over here." You know, like at Wedding Crashers.
For what?
I don't know. I mean,
Go
you
behind her and say what happened.
go.
to
You
girl.
might want to go behind your friend that got maced and
For
console
what?
her.
I already know she's not a freak.
I know, but you can might sometimes. Okay, all right, guys. Well,
Move on to the next question.
yeah, we're gonna move on to
You
the
about
next
to take
question.
me back to my other life.
I'm
man.
not about to.
Like, what I want her
but-
for? I wasn't trying to marry her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but you know, I didn't know if you were trying to console her because sometimes a hug will change some things. But anyway, all right. So
So I didn't need to go hug people.
no, he doesn't.
Go
He's
ahead.
not
All right, go
hugging
ahead.
anybody now. Okay, you want to fall out under the Holy Ghost?
I'm good.
That's it.
I'm good. Nah, definitely at that time.
But I
wouldn't even comprehend
appreciate your transparency because you really don't know. Some people, you're saying this is your old days, but some people, this is somebody's yesterday. So
Yeah.
this is years
that.
ago.
Somebody's today.
Yeah, somebody's today, and depending on when you're watching it, somebody's tonight possibly. If the Holy Ghost don't hit you right now, but catch you tomorrow, you know. So and conviction doesn't show up. So I do appreciate you sharing that because you weren't always the pastor.
See, her anointing made me reveal my old life because she the meds. When I ain't never said this. Look, they be trying to get me to say some of this stuff on Theology on Tap. I be like, man, they ain't talking about that all the time. She ain't even say nothing. She did it, man. Y'all talk. What y'all did? Y'all talk about it? Oh, I don't
Y'all
know.
are welcome. I just want you to know you're
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. So, okay, but you know, in all honesty, people need to hear this because church is so fake. Church is so programmed. Church is on such a time schedule, on such a time slot. It's such a show. we're not getting to truly see who people really are. And so it's hard for me to listen to you, to learn from you, to glean from you if I've never seen you plow, if I've never seen you uproot, if I've never seen you really go out and reap a harvest, but I just see you planting seeds, or I see you talking, but I don't see any of your fruit. And all fruit, even though it could appear to be bad, somebody's still eating it. People will cut off a bruised piece of an apple and still slice it with peanut butter. So even though we're talking about a season where you may not have been fruitful in the way of the kingdom, you're still giving us nuggets now. You're still giving us a good harvest for maybe the things that we're going off, the things that people are going through. And so while they're biting into what you have now, that even though it's in the past, if you put something in a dumpster and someone who's hungry, it still brings, and they grab it, even though it comes out of a dirty thing or maybe from a dirty time, it still nourishes somebody to help them make it to tomorrow. So it's not lost. And I don't want you to think, and I know that you don't think this, but I don't want you to think this isn't helping somebody. Because while we're talking about moments where you could have been tripped up or had a real downfall, the Lord still sought to save you. He still cared enough to save you. He still cared enough for you to have a repentant heart and mind, because you changed your mind, and look at you now.
Only thing I'm thinking about is, should I add this or not? If it helps somebody not do it, great. If not, I ain't gonna lie, I really don't care. Only thing I'm worried about is this gonna hurt me?
It's not gonna, but I don't think, but
I'm
it
just
depends.
keeping it 100.
But it depends, because it depends on your audience. And I really think the Lord has given you the world as your oyster, because you're so many different things. You're multifaceted. So in having this conversation, now we can go and talk about how
She made it an oyster. She gonna go to an aphrodisiac after we talk about that. You see that Freudian thing right there?
See, so this doesn't air. This is because of him.
She went to the oysters. Go ahead. The world is about oysters. Hey, go ahead.
I'm just saying. But in all honesty, okay, so we can go from that version to now you're in grad school. What's your grad degree in?
I have my Master's of Divinity, and then I have a doctorate degree in Education Administration.
Okay, so how do we tie those together? Because this is a different version of you.
Well.
So where does that? It's different. It's a different level. So where does that come in?
God told me to go to seminary.
Okay.
And God tells me a lot of stuff that I really don't want to hear. That's how I know I hear Him, because I really hear Him when I'm really not even trying to listen.
Turn y'all's volume up
I'm
right
not.
now.
So God tells me to go to seminary.
Okay.
So I say, I ain't filling out all these daggone applications. This is what I need you to say, God. I need you, whatever school I'm supposed to go to, all I need to do is get a letter that say, did you get it? I don't need to say nothing else. I don't want to receive any more mail that day. I just want to say, did you get it? Now, the reason why I said no mail that day, I got tons of mails daily. Why? I was a black man who just graduated from Georgia Southern with a special education degree, which they called exceptional education back then. So a black man that teaches special ed is like a white man in the world. Okay. Everybody want to hire him because a black man that teaches special ed, you don't find that many. Then I was just had received my real estate license. So all these brokerages are trying to recruit me. So I get tons of mail every day. Still at my mom's house. I had signed for a house, but it wasn't built yet. I get home, there's no mail there. I'm not even thinking that this is half of my ask, but I'm like, whatever. I go in the house. I wake up in the middle of the night. I get hungry. I rarely eat in the middle of the night when I'm hungry, because I know the calories not good, especially then when I really was working out. But I get up, didn't have my glasses, go down to, I can't see, and I see this postcard. And I was like, it's from ITC. And it said, did you get it, in bold caps? And I started screaming, ah, ah. So I scare everybody. Dad comes in the room with a bat. Sean has a knife, a big knife.
This is Dad and his brother.
First of all, I'm like, they just sleep with bats and knives.
Where did they get
That's
this
what I'm
from?
thinking, right? So I got this big knife. I'm talking about the kind of, I don't know
A
what.
machete.
It's one of them knives Mama cut food with, but it's a huge one. Like, what in the world? So anyway, I said, no, I'm good. I said, man, I gotta preach. I said, what? I said, man, I told them the story I just told y'all, and I got it in bold caps. So I write my letter to ITC, because you gotta, and I put my application together. I send it in. The lady in the room. Now I take this letter everywhere because I keep it because I'm trying to make sure I go to seminary. So in fact, my ex wrote an order on it, and I thought, man, I gotta get rid of her. Like, this is flipping a holy grail to me, because it's like, this is a crazy prayer that I prayed. Yeah. And so I go to the lady, and she comes to me and she says, hey, she interviewed. She said, now, in your packet, she asked me all these questions. Then she said, well, in your packet, you put down, you got a postcard that said, did you get it? I said, yes. She said, we don't send stuff like that. So I tell her, she called me a liar. I said, oh, maybe that's why God told me to keep this in the car. I'm going to go get it. She said, no, I believe you. But she said, we never send that type stuff. You saying you got it in the car, going to get it, that's enough for me. That's a move of God. They never did that before, ever. So they didn't mail it.
They couldn't.
They've never mailed a did you get it? And it was caps. All caps with a question mark from ITC.
So then it's angelic visitation. Man,
crazy. Dude, so it's like people would tell me I was called to preach, alcoholics, people I'd never seen before. Hey, man, do we got to kill? One man said, do we got to kill one side of your body? Do we got to put you in the belly of a whale? You called to preach. Man, I remember I played the saxophone one time at this church at Georgia Southern. Dude, I played the saxophone in March. It's hot as I don't know what at Georgia. Statesboro is right close to Florida, so it's hot.
Wow.
Right from Savannah. It snowed that day. God was even shocked I played the daggone saxophone. The church was packed from door. It was like everybody would come to church because they know I'm playing the saxophone. Mr. Freaknik playing the saxophone. If he going to church, I got to go to church. I'm playing the saxophone every day, every Sunday at the daggone church. And the church is packed out because this wild dude wilding out on Friday and Saturday, still getting up, going to play the saxophone, living like hell, but playing the saxophone for Jesus on Sunday.
But okay, let's talk to the musicians, because y'all gig all the time. So this has been someone. This is somebody. You talk to your drummer.
And see, my drummer, it might be them. See, they might hide now. See, you knew I was wilding. I wasn't hiding from nobody at Georgia Southern. You feel me? Everybody knew. I had to change my name to Will instead of Willett, because it was a whole bunch of Wills, but I ain't need nobody to know Willett, because Willett is only one person there named Willett. So, my name Will, because I don't need that name out there, because there's only one name. So if somebody hear this name, they know it's me. Man, it might have been other Will, man, because so-and-so. I could deflect. But let me tell you what happened, though. So eventually God changes my heart. First of all, I'm drunk one day.
At church?
No, not at church. In the streets.
Ask.
I'm so high and drunk. I'm driving. Now, if you've ever been to Georgia Southern, first of all, Statesboro is one of the most racist places you can go. And cops will be everywhere, not just the cops, but the police university cops. And they all pulling you over for no reason.
Wow.
I didn't pull over for no reason a lot of times. I'm driving so fast. I'm turning curves. Someone holding on to the little thing. He's so scared. I'm like making turns.
It's one of your friends.
Yeah. I'm making turns that nobody can make.
On two wheels or one?
I don't know, child. I'm driving. I'm drunk. Hell. I told you I'm drunk. So I'm like, I ain't messing no brakes or nothing. And I make it home. And the next morning, I get up and I drive wild. And I said, man, and I go out there, cops everywhere. There's never, ever been a span of 3 miles that you've never seen a flipping cop. God covered me. You hear me? He covered me. So then I stopped smoking weed. I didn't stop drinking, but I stopped getting drunk. Because half the time I can remember what I did no way. And I'd be like, yeah, I had fun. How you had fun? You don't even remember.
Yeah. So
I stopped. And so you can see my friends, they had an intervention with me. First of all, you got an intervention on me because I'm doing right. Look, because they wanted me to throw parties. They all meet with me. Hey, man, you changing. You doing this. You doing that. So I said, hold on. When I was drunker than y'all, higher than y'all, acting the fool, more crazy than y'all, more reckless than y'all, I'm good. But now I'm trying to live for God, and you try to have an intervention? Y'all crazy, right? So the next year, I ended up I lived, none of them wanted to room me, so I ended up living by myself, like one of those years at college. And then like my music and stuff would change. So like a lot of them, I was like a period where I was kind of by myself. Nobody wanted to ride in the car with me. They rather ride with 5 people in the car than somebody get in my car, because everything about me had started.
It was making them uncomfortable, I'm
Transitioning,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, now they leave and say, oh yeah, no wonder they want to ride me. I got Kirk Franklin on. It was close to the club. Hell, they played Kirk at the club, but this ain't MJG. This ain't Tupac.
Right.
This ain't Master P.
Right.
I ain't gonna say, y'all know I love Outkast, but I ain't want to throw them in there with the heathens, because that's East Point, baby. So
don't disrespect
the Dungeon family all day, baby. So
don't disrespect
I might even listen to y'all on the way to church today. No, it's playing, just tripping. But anyway, it was just crazy, man. So it was just a transitional moment where I just stopped doing certain things. I mean, one time, because once I turned 21, I stopped going to the strip club. It was just and so one day, God,
how old do you have to be to get in there?
21.
Oh, and you stopped going at 21.
Yeah, because there wasn't no high.
Oh, all right.
It was
okay,
the high was just
trying
being
to figure
in
out
there.
these years.
Many times, man, women would protect me because I do stuff I wasn't supposed to do, and then I would just brace myself. Don't hit him. He too young. He ain't supposed to be in here. I'm just bracing myself for the bouncer to keep me out, right? So damn.
And they'll be protecting you.
Yeah. So anyway, one day, my friends, I don't want to say their names. I got 2 friends. They about to go to the strip club. We in Atlanta. I said, God told me I need to ride with y'all, but I'm not going in the club. I ride with them in the club. Now I'm kind of buzzed. I'm sitting in the back. And then all of a sudden, we get to this. If we driving, it's not raining, but it's wet. I don't know. Was it raining? I can't remember. All I know is I said, hey, man, get over to the far right, because if you don't get over to the far right, we're going to hit a puddle in a minute, and we're going to hit this wall if we don't.
Here's your gift.
And we're going to lose control. So George, said his name.
There's a lot of Georges.
Yeah, it's a lot of Georges. They're going to know it anyway. So the driver says, if you can edit it, cool. If not, understand. He ain't going to care. So the driver gets all the way to the right. We hit a puddle, and the puddle is all across. We go right to the wall, but we don't hit it.
So you hydroplane.
Yeah. So he said, how you know that? How you know that? I don't know. But I think that's why I was in the car.
But did you know? But did you know how you knew?
I knew how I knew, but to tell him how I knew
and to explain
doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know how I knew. I said, but I know that's why God had me in the car to save y'all, because it ain't time for me to die, because I got a purpose. I don't know about you, so God got me here to protect you. So even though I said I don't know, I still explained it.
Yeah.
They go to the club, the Blue Flame. I sit in the back seat. I stay in the back seat. I ain't listen to no music or nothing. I sit in the car for literally 4 hours. They come out. They get in there, man, you ain't going for real? Nah, man. I'm just here to keep y'all from dying. And then they took me home. Didn't even go in the club, man. But I think I was there to cover them. In fact, I know I was there to cover them, because they would have died that day. I can tell you that. I can guarantee you that.
I want to ask, I'm listening to you say you were wilding out, having a good time. What if you weren't raised that way? What made you feel that was okay? What made you kind of take that route?
I wanted to show God I wasn't called.
So you really just acted out in attempts to
God,
show him that he called you wrong.
Let me show you who you called. You called the wrong one, bro. I don't want to do this. Look at this. Look at the sinful nature I am. It ain't like I killed anybody.
So did you just do extra? Did you go above and beyond to make a spectacle of what he thought of what he chose?
I suppose, yeah.
And it still didn't work. So you can try. Run, you can't hide.
I definitely did. Because I ain't do nothing. I ain't drink in high school. I'll be the designated driver. I mean, one day I was with my friend. He rolled me in the car. Well, I drove everybody. Mm-hmm. But this time, I think he probably was there for me to cover. I can't say his name because everybody gonna know who I'm talking about in the A.
John Doe.
And so we go, and I say, hey, man, I see that you got shot in my spirit. You gonna live, But if you be quiet, you won't get shot. Now, the minute you keep talking junk, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to leave you because he always fought all the time.
Okay.
But somebody going to shoot you if you talk tonight. I told everybody in the van, when I say it's time to go, I don't care what happened to so-and-so, we leaving.
We're liking that. I gave my friends
Right?
3 times.
I
I
let her
will
know.
leave you.
So I go, we standing by the wall. Dude start popping up in the mouth, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, man, I told you to chill, bro. Hey, man, hey, no, man, I'm whatever. I said, I'm about to walk away from you. You're going to get shot, but you're going to be okay. I'll holler at you next week. This Friday night, we at the club. You know, mom wouldn't let me stay out too late on Saturday because I got to go to church. So I walk away from him. I tell everybody, hey, y'all, let's get ready to go. Pow. Dude gets shot in the shin. As soon as I walked away. And they said, man, we got to get something. The ambulance to handle him. If you want to handle him, go ahead. I told him when I was standing beside him, I was about to leave him because he didn't be quiet. And I told him what I saw. Now, I ain't catching no bullet for nobody. So I let him know before we left. I let all y'all know while we was in the van. I said it in front of everybody. I didn't hide it. And I told him that I was going to leave him if he kept talking. And I told y'all I was going to leave him and leave y'all too if y'all didn't come when I said come. That's what happened. So it's like I would see. But what really has happened, I think I walked in more power when I wasn't pastoring than I walk in pastoring.
Do you think because there was a lack of care there was a lack of care and concern of other people's opinions of you?
I think I was free and I didn't have the oppressive spirits of the traditional church.
Okay.
When they wanted me to plant a church for Southern Baptists, they said, hey, I know you pray in the spirit, I do too, but when they asked you, do you believe in praying in tongues, put no. I immediately said I don't want to plant a church because if I got to plant it from the beginning, ain't nothing finna happen because it's just too, I can't handle it.
Well, you got to root it on
And
a
so
lie.
even when I'm at New Beach Grove, sometimes I can feel it. I'm flowing it more now, but I remember I used to just be almost just talking to myself. You understand?
Yeah.
And holding it and fighting it. And now I'm a little more freer, but I know me preaching on the breakthrough with money and things of that nature, I got comfortable with that. You know, I started surrounding myself with some coaching people and getting them to do some things. But now, you know I got to go back to healing and things of that nature because there was some times when I was at the TD Jakes conference and I was laying hands on people. People like, man, so all the people would start saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So now I'm saying, man, why are you telling me thank you? Man, when my stomach was hurting so bad, I didn't even know. I mean, when you prayed for me, it was straight. Then this other guy said, man, you didn't realize, man, you saw I was on my walker. I don't need my walker no more. It was just the healing that was, you know, it's crazy. And even now at church with Gene Jarvis, I prayed for him one day at church. And he came, Sunday ain't the day to be trying to get me to guess nothing. My mind ain't there. He's like, hey, Pastor, look. What? Hey, Pastor, look. What? Hey, Pastor. Man, what? So he says, man, I don't need my walker no more.
Wow.
Do you see it? They had took him off. The doctor took away his license so he couldn't drive because his circulation in his legs were so terrible that they wouldn't let him drive because so he couldn't drive the van.
Like he wouldn't be able to feel okay.
Right, so they took him off so we couldn't let him drive the van, and he loved driving them with 2 adults. We had to take him off of that. He couldn't drive, and then when I prayed for him, boom. And so I know it's there, but when you flowing, and it was at the seat in our own private moment. But I know I got to start. This right here gonna be my coming out part. I had Karn up here January the 4th and 5th, and I called it the awakening. But it really wasn't for nobody but me because I knew I had to awaken the gifts that have been dormant for so daggone long. So I know sermons gonna be different. I know I'm dealing with the money right now, but I know the healing, the prophetic, all those things about the flow, and it's not gonna look like the Baptist church. And you can't put new wine in old wineskins and certain things God said he had to strip away from my life because the other night when I was dealing with God, he called me spiritually anorexic. He said, you're reading the word for your people, but you're not reading the word to digest it for me. and to get to know me and to be in my face. He said, I can't even whisper to you. I got to scream to you because you're not in my presence. And he said, you keep reading for the people. So do you love the people more than me? See, church preachers, ministry preachers can become an idol because you begin to worry about the people and serve the people so much, you forget to be in the presence of God. That's why I can understand and feel Howard John Wesley when he said he had to leave the church in order to get closer to God, because the church will wear you out and tear your gifts down if you let it, because so many people are going to be pulling on you all the time. You tell them to go talk to the deacon, yet they still call you. Everybody's seeing you on E. You can't go anywhere because somebody always needs you. You got to learn how to just move away and get where you are by yourself. Even Jesus began to get away to himself. It said they found him somewhere. He was going to pray. He got away from them. Even when he went up to the mountaintop, he left them by themselves and went somewhere by himself. You got to learn how to steal away and get by yourself and stay in the presence of God and just read the word for yourself. I know you want a sermon. I know you want to teach. I know you got to teach twice a week, sometimes 3 and 4 times, but you still got to take that moment where you read that word, because no matter how in shape you are, no matter how sexy you are, you still got to have a little percentage of fat in your body or you will die.
Come on.
Because your body has to be able, you got to have some fat in your life. Just like you need fat in your life in the natural, you need some fat in your life for the spiritual. You can't give out everything you eat in the word, or you will be spiritually anorexic and won't have the nutrition you need. You have to posture yourself to receive the word from God to get in his presence, and then you can help people with your overflow. Some of us are tired because we keep giving out of our need and our necessity and not our overflow, because we never have an overflow because we only continue to read for the people and not read to get close to God.
And then to your pouring. So we're talking a bit about a pour. But you're not receiving either, because you don't have time. Yeah. So you don't have time to sit under anyone's tutelage. You don't have time to read for yourself. You're not listening to podcasts. You're not listening. So you're doing ministry, but not being ministered to. Exactly. Wow.
I don't know. I just went on.
That's good. No, but when you're saying this is your coming out party, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of that.
I'm like, I can tell when I start getting on that time.
But this is what's needed, because there's so many people who only know one aspect of you, who are only seeing one side. And when I'm saying you're multifaceted, it's a big deal. But they're only getting to see one side of you. And I think it's different groups know you for different things. Yeah. Different offices, and that could be buildings naturally or spiritually, are accountable to you, or they answer to you, but they're not always aware of, they're aware of who you answer to, but they've never gotten a chance to see how God deals with you. So they know that you're a Christian, they know that you're a pastor, and they know who your boss is, right? But they're not sure how he deals with you. So this is good to see, because everybody doesn't have that. People are hearing God but don't know if they're hearing God. And so when sometimes you get punched and you're thinking it's punishment, but he's saving your life. Exactly. Because if you're anorexic, what happens next? You're on the feeding tube. You're malnourished.
He did with me in such a way, because he was like, I can't whisper to you. And I said, well, apparently I hear you. You call me anorexic, because that's something I ain't want to hear.
And he's talking back to God.
You know what I'm saying?
He got a lot of lips.
Because you have a relationship. The thing about it is, so my mom used to get mad. Like, I used to be fussing with God in the shower and stuff. Mom would bang on the door. Stop talking to God like that. I'm like, man, I talk to God how I want to talk to God. That's how we talk.
How old are you when you're doing this?
This probably like 13, 14.
And so you're playing the saxophone in the church from what age to what age?
No, I'm not playing the saxophone in the church till I'm like 18, 19.
But you're still so the entire time you're called, but you're just doing all of this to rebel in hopes that he
14,
forgets.
14, I didn't know I was called then. I was just talking to God.
But
I didn't know I was called until I'm 18. I was fucking him because he had pissed me off.
But what I'm saying is like, wait a second, because let's think about a call. It's a two-way thing.
But I didn't know I was called.
But there's someone, but it does. Even if you don't know it, your spirit man still had an understanding, and your fleshly realm, your flesh still had an understanding enough to attempt to fight it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know I was called till I was 19. That's when
Okay.
I knew I was called. I knew I had gifts, but I thought I thought it was normal. I thought some of the stuff I thought was normal, but I realized, oh, don't nobody have this.
Okay.
I realized it wasn't normal when people started saying, "What did you do? How you know that? How you know this?" You know, it was just different. But I didn't know, you know, yeah, I didn't. I felt like some people have a relationship with God, whether you called to preach or not.
Well, I don't know that I'm not even saying called to preach, but I'm saying called to witness, called to
Well,
minister,
put it like
called to
that. I didn't
save.
know anything about call. I went to a tradition. We went to whatever church was close to the house. We went to this white church down the street, which someone was definitely racist. I was like, why are we here? And they don't want us here. But whatever, you know, I'm young and I just got discernment. Like, why are we here? They do not want us here. Go somewhere where you want it. And
That's a word. You might
and
need to leave today,
yeah, might
wherever
need
you're
to
at.
leave. So yeah, I didn't understand that I was called. I just felt like everybody had conversation with God, but Mama didn't like the way I was having a conversation with God. But in my mind, that wasn't none of her business.
But
Maybe I
every
need
relationship is different. And
Yeah.
I thank you for saying that because as y'all can see, he has a lot of things to say and he's witty. Okay? He's witty and has a way with his words, and so God has a way with his words dealing with
God
you.
comes straight
And
back.
but I love that because people will put God in a box and they always look at the lamb but forget the lion. And so I think it's
That's
interesting
crazy
that
because
we're
I'm straight
getting.
opposite. I always see God as a lion. Like, you mess with me, one thing, you don't step to me because I know God gonna kill you, even if I'm getting on his nerves. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
but you've also tested God enough to know. Some people haven't done that. They've always just been the submissive, quiet little Christian. Okay, 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 and very religious, and so they just look at the sweet side of Jesus, forgetting that other ferocious side. So you've seen all sides of him. Why?
Yes.
Because you've attempted to pull all sides of him out. Because if you really want me to do this, you're gonna have to show me who you really are and show me who I am too.
But let me tell you this.
Yes.
When I was younger, I didn't understand what this cup passed for me was. And when I got grown, I started getting irritated with all the people that let me say this, and I didn't know what I was talking about. So when Jesus said, if it's your will, let this cup pass from me.
Okay.
Oh, he said, if it's your will, he said, let this cup pass from me. Basically, let this cup pass from me if I'm not supposed to do this.
Okay.
Lord, like, let this cup pass from me. And I'd be like, why he pray like that? I thought he was praying for a cup to leave his hand, right? So I'm like, I would have said, if you want me to do it, let this cup pass to me. This cup better flow from here over there. So I didn't know that he really did let this situation pass. Let me get out of this situation if it's your will. And he was having a conversation with God. I thought in my little young mind that he was trying to say, if you don't want me to go, let this cup pass from me. Like, let it float away. Like, dude, Jesus, you
All
praying
these feet
wrong.
throwing fleeces.
You praying wrong, bro. You need to say, if you want me to go, let this cup flow, right? Jesus, I want to go back and help him, bro. You praying wrong. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm just tripping off that how I would always ask God to do just crazy stuff to show that I didn't want to do it.
Always throwing
If you want me to pastor, you find me a church. Man, somebody sent my resume in.
Come on.
Sent my resume in to the church I'm at now. I ain't never heard of New Beach Grove nor Newport News.
But you're in Atlanta when this is happening.
Let me tell you what happens, though. Let me tell you how I find out this stuff.
Okay.
First of all, there's only one place in New Birth that the phone worked for me when I worked at New Birth. I get up to walk away to go do something. I don't even know what it is. The phone rings. It's New Beach Grove. Hey, you applied. And the spirit just takes over. So I'm on a phone interview for something I ain't even applied for. I'm like, who are these people? So then I end up doing a phone interview. Mind you, this now, I end up being in the top 5. They only wanted the top 3. They end up going for the top 5 because they had some church conference. And they said, no, they wanted 5. The church wanted 5 instead of 3. Boom, I'm the 5th. So the same process I get mad about, also really the process they got me in the first place. But I still changed it. So anyway, I am in this is before I even know this going. I'm sitting in God tells me to grab my deed to 1466 Panola Road. That's a house that I used to use for my real estate company. I let my brother move in it at the time. I take it to work. God says, leave the job now and go to the house. It's 12 o'clock. I leave the school, go to the house. My brother's in the back of the police car. Hey, man, what's up? The cops got him arrested because he trying to get back in the house. That's my house. There's some lady chick that he got in the house done put him out and called the police. I said, well, this is my house. So what's wrong? He said, no. He said, I had a deed. He said, he used to walk around with a deed. I said, God told me to bring the deed. So maybe he wanted to keep my brother from going to jail and keep me from getting shot.
Yeah.
So Sean gets out the car. And then I said, no, God said that ain't why I was here. I'm glad you let him go, but God said this is not why I'm here. Now, mind you, I know the police like, this dude, first of all, the only reason they kind of listening to me is because they like, this Negro walking around with a deed. So then I go and I say, hey, I need to go in here and get my copy machine. Because at the time, that was expensive to me. I could carry it, but it was one of them mid-sized copy machines. They said, all right. So I went and got the copy machine. I said, yeah. Nah, this ain't what God want me to get. This ain't it.
And you're saying this out loud.
I'm saying out loud to them because I got to go back in the house.
Right, okay.
This not it. You a great commentator. I said, man, this not it. This not it. So I walked and I said, hey, is that my mail? It's my mail. Now, I opened the mail that's from New Beach Grove because the lady who sent my resume in didn't know my address. She just knew my real estate office address. So she sent my resume in using my real estate office address. So all of my stuff went to Panola Road that she applied for because she said God told her. I didn't find out who even called me until I got here. I go get the police. I need a background check. It has to be in by 5 o'clock that day. Now, mind you, if I'm in Newport News, I ain't got the job because Newport News slow as molasses. So I go. I just had to throw it out there.
It's true.
I had to. So I go and I get my fingerprints and everything together. I keep trying to email it to Spells. It keep kicking back because his email is full. I find the fax number, call Donna at the church. I fax it. It gets to New Beach Grove at 4:58 p.m. 2 minutes to spare before I get cut out. Didn't even know what. Grab my deed. What if I would have been like, God told me? What if I would have missed it that God really didn't care about getting my brother out of jail? And maybe that was just part of it. He needed to get him out. But that he said, that ain't what you're here for. He a residual and he getting blessed because you here.
Yeah.
But that ain't what you here for. Cop saying, yeah, that's your fleshy stuff you wanted, but that ain't what you're here for. Boom, that's what you're here for. My daggone background check.
But you wouldn't have gone had you not thought that, hey, I need this, I need that. So God still used certain things that were important to you at that time in your career to get you to what your main thing and your main goal and purpose here right now is. Because sometimes he might not have said, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. So he's putting fleshly, maybe material things that are trivial.
But the thing about it is, I can't even say that because I ain't even know why I grabbed my deed. He just said grab my deed, and I grabbed it.
And so but all along the way, you're like, no, that's not why I'm here. So I'm saving this. This has purpose.
Still got it, yeah.
So this has purpose, and I'm saving you, Sean. I'm saving this printer.
Right.
I'm saving this. And so he's letting. It's just a blessing because when you're following. You're following and being in the will of God and doing what's happening, and so by you being in the will of God, how many other things were blessed?
Were blessed and released.
Yeah, because of your obedience in that 12 o'clock noonday. What they say about noonday in the Bible? Wow. You know what I'm saying? You're still leaving a place of business, going to your other place of business that is now, and then God can find you anywhere because it wasn't even your residence. Mm-mm.
Dude,
so people put God in a box.
It's crazy how.
But people put God in a box thinking that it has to work a certain way, and He will go the long way around, the difficult seeming way, or the way we never thought of, to still get us to where we need to be and where He needs us to be for kingdom. Because now you look at your congregation, and in that one moment, how many souls and lives have been saved by you just thinking, let me pick my deed up, let me be obedient.
I know, right? Going
from a rebellious state to now, okay, he said leave at 12.
Man, but what's another thing I got to tell this story?
And then we need to go to how you were at New Birth, because we need to hear
I'm
how
about to kind of go there with this one, kind of.
Okay.
So I'm at New Birth, and Bishop Long has this conference every year, and I sneak out because I'm at the school.
But you're at New Birth in what capacity?
I'm the principal. Oh. I'm the principal of the school.
Okay.
And they have it. So I walk in and I run. First time ever meeting TD Jakes. TD Jakes said, "Ooh, what an anointing! What an anointing! You're gonna be pastoring in 6 months." Now this before all this other stuff. You're gonna be pastoring in 6 months. He lays hands on me. I don't fall out of nothing. But later that night, it hit me late. Like maybe I was in a worldly place and I didn't want to hear nothing. He was saying, "Ooh, what an anointing! You're gonna be pastoring in 6 months." And I'm thinking about you, false prophet, because I ain't even applied for no church.
And I'm not giving you no courtesy for it.
Right. So but I already told God, if you want me to pastor, you work it out. But it was already in the works because somebody had already sent my resume out. I ain't even know. And now TDJ's telling me I'm pastoring in 6 months. This Negro told me that on March 4th, 2011. My first sermon here was September 4th, 2011. Now I got voted in.
How many months is that in between?
6 months.
Come on.
Now I got voted in July, but I didn't start until September.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. Okay, so you're. Let's go. How do we get to New Birth?
Man,
come on.
We get to New Birth. So my principal ends up putting me over instruction. Now, if you know education, it used to be all the black people do, black men, discipline. You could become a principal from doing that discipline because they felt like you need to put the school in order. But now the test scores and stuff, they want you to know instruction. But they rarely put a black man in instruction because they don't think he's intelligent enough. So I'm at Dunwoody, which is a predominantly white school. This black principal, now they feel like, they still feel like, even though you're a principal, they feel like the person that does instruction is the smartest person in the school.
So they couldn't Joe Clark you.
Right. So then they the guy gave me the job over instruction. Everybody calling me, trying to talk over my head. These rich, white, female housewives with no degree. I'm flipping a year and a half away from having my doctorate degree, and you trying to talk over my head. Chick, you under my toes. And so...
The pinky toe.
Yeah, so anyway, I end up being over instruction. Now, I am the dumbest one in the room when I first get there. Kyrus, I'm so dumb, I don't know what question to ask. People laughing at me. Thank God I got seats. They laughing at me, Eugene. Literally, like a sitcom. Ha, 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 ha. And you know, it's only one other black person there, but he doing elementary. So I know, if you know how it is with black people, if I mess up, no other Negro gonna get the job.
Yeah.
Because they put us all in the same bucket. I go to London on vacation, I'm doing it. No matter where, in the middle of the night, I'm learning this program. The good thing about it is, it's a new program. So I didn't have to unlearn nothing. They kept trying to stick with the old program, but this one skipped a lot of the different steps they had. I figure out this program so much, I find a glitch in the daggone system. This ain't working. I get up at 6 a.m. I go and I stay in front of the assistant superintendent over instruction. I stay in front of her door till she gets there. I tell her this program don't work right. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. How you know? You just not starting. I'm telling her it don't work. And I told her why. She listened to me because she probably like, this dude up this early. I waited on her to get there. Now I'm skipping my job to be there early.
This is a white woman.
This is a white lady. She goes, and for some reason, she ends up telling the people. They look, it is a glitch. How did he know? She said, how did you know? How did you know? She called me to the office. And I said it just like this. I'm black. If I mess up, nobody else coming behind me because they going to look at it like all black people. You mess up, you white, they going to just be like, it's you. Another white lady, another white man can come. If I mess up, I done mess up for everybody. So even if the system don't work, I got to make it work because all these white people can mess up. But the only person y'all going to talk about is me if mine ain't together. She turned blood red. And so at the end, then they start getting me. I'm helping people get their program together. All of a sudden, they got a school. I helped the person get a program together. All of a sudden, I started realizing, hold on. Everybody getting a school, and I'm helping them.
Yeah.
These superintendents calling my cell phone, and normally you get a call to interview, they call your little desk phone.
Yeah.
And they call you from your desk, and that's how you get it. But they calling my cell phone, so somehow they got my cell phone number calling me to help their people. So I tell God, And all this stuff happened right around the TV. No, this ain't. I'm already there. So this stuff happens, and I'm like, hey God, I don't want to be. I'm like all these people again. So I tell them I felt like I should have. I found out that they were trying to keep me from getting a job. The superintendent's right hand man says they realized because I was doing a lot of different things in the background because I believe the principal that hired me, he really had lied on his resume and didn't know nothing. So I was pretty much running the school in the background, and people knew it. And some of the assistant principals getting mad at me saying, why you helping him? You shouldn't be helping him. You making him keep his job. No, I'm trying to make sure these kids graduate. I have integrity.
So this is SPED. This is you being in SPED or no?
No, this is me over instruction.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I mean, you just see.
No, I'm still in the same place. I ain't never leave instruction. I never did. All right. So I stayed right there. So anyway, they said, why are you helping him? He should be gone. I'm not helping him. I'm making sure these kids graduate. So I'm supposed to let out all these kids, all these parents because he lied or he shouldn't be there. They know this. I ain't even know they knew, but they figured it out. Long story short, I got all these schedules. I'm doing stuff fast. Everybody getting to school but me. So I say, hey, man, why I didn't get this school? Because I helped this school out the most. They said, because you didn't have any elementary school experience. I said, that's different. Because neither did that guy who interviewed. I do my homework. I knew who was interviewing me, so I already know who my competition is. They got quiet. Superintendent's buddy calls me and says, you will never get a school in DeKalb County. If somebody else calls you, take that job because the parents from Dunwoody are keeping you from getting the job because they know you run the school and they want you to stay there. And they told the superintendent not to let you get another school. You so blessed. You so blessed. They try to keep you where you are. Wow. Look at this though. Look at this. I feel like I'm boring these people, but whatever.
No, so, you need to tell it because people don't know.
I come. I get this. New Birth calls me in the middle of the night. Not middle of the night. 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Which is late.
They call me and they say, "Hey, we heard about you. We want to interview you for the school." I didn't even know they had a school. So I interview with a panel of people. Then I get an interview with Bishop. I'm like, I must have got a job. Bishop ain't talking to nobody unless they got a job. So I take all the stuff off my office. I take my pictures down. Dude, I already know. If Bishop Long talking to me, I know he ain't talking to nobody unless they got the job. Yeah, and he gonna be like yay or nay. But ain't no runners up, ain't no 3, ain't no 2. They like, this who we want. I already know because Bishop ain't wasting time. He too busy.
Yeah.
I go anyway. Long story short,
he's a businessman.
I get the job. DeKalb County tries to stop me from taking the job. They say, nah, man, we got a school for you. Nah, y'all ain't never had no school for me. Y'all weren't trying to give it to me in the beginning. Well, if you leave, we going to mess up your certification because you're not getting enough money. So it's like a lateral move. I like, well, how much money do I need? Well, you got to get paid at least this. I call Bishop. Hey, they tell me I got to make at least this much money. So I ain't even got to negotiate my contract. So he called them and said, whatever we need to give him, that's what we going to do. So then they released me from the contract because he called the superintendent and told him, whatever he's supposed to pay, we're going to pay him to make sure it ain't no lateral move. So then I was getting paid like $75,000. I got paid like $90,000 to be the principal. And they probably going to try to, they're trying to keep me around the same, which was fine. But because DeKalb County was hating on me, I got a raise just because they were trying to block me. Ain't that crazy? The wealth of the wicked laid up for the righteous. He'll make you my stumbling block will become my stepping stool. I love you, DeKalb, but whatever. Go to
heaven. but okay, so even in saying that, there is still a lot of warfare around forward movement. So we see you being doubted. Like let's look at the spiritual side, even just because your parents play a large role in. My parents are my pillar. The building that I am, the structure that I am, it's built on your parents. It's built at home. And so if there are cracks in that, if there's doubt in that, it really changes how you see yourself, how you allow God to use you, or how you're available to be used. And so then you have these other people in education where, one, you're thinking of other young black individuals educated African Americans who you're kind of leading the way for, and you're going ahead and saying that I am the scapegoat, I'm the example, and so you've put that pressure on yourself for the rest of us, right? And so there's been seeming to be stumbling blocks or things attempting to kind of hold you back in multiple areas, because you look at the spirit realm, you look at your home life, and he had a great home life. I'm not saying anything about that, but just not someone pushing you in the way of the Lord to say, hey, you heard from God. Let's hone in on that. Let's be a good steward of it. So then you starting to suppress it, or you having these gifts and you're hanging out with your friends and utilizing it in whatever way at that time. You're not, even if you're operating in your full capacity at that time, the fruit that it's bearing is not necessarily was beneficial to the kingdom in those seasons, but now it is, because you've been there. So the harvest that you're reaping has come from far, near, and wide. And so how would you encourage someone who's never really had that push, and has had to constantly, really push themselves and make sure that they're on target all of the time, because you've had to always be on your P's and Q's?
Well, first of all, I say, my parents pushed me in stuff they could. They pushed me in education.
That's good.
Dad pushed me in sports. I think I'm a great shortstop because Dad didn't know how to hit it right to me. So my range got good. They would even call me Ozzy. They gave me the nickname Wiz because I could cover the range. And he'd be like, man, I'm sorry. I said, man, it don't matter because it's making me better.
So in his mistakes, he strengthened you.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so, come on.
Right. It's better not to hit it right to me because you making my range better. So,
yeah.
So with that, I've always been internally focused on my own anyway. So
you're driven, self-driven.
So when I lost a race in 7th grade in the cross country, I came in 2nd place to this dude named Sean. And I said, I'm going to beat him this time. They said, well, how you think you're going to beat him this year? You didn't beat him last year. Because I am. And
Did you beat him?
I trained. I had these big hills. I run up the hills. And so I wouldn't just run around the track. I'm running up hills and stuff. So, dude, when I run a flat track, it's a wrap. And I knew at the end, I run my fastest or whatever. So I knew I had a kick at the end. So anyway, as long as I stay close to you, I'm dipping and leaving you on that last lap. Because I just was driven. I've always been driven on my own. And I always had goals I set on my own. And what I was gifted in too is.
Did you beat Sean though?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like I ain't
check
need
that.
to talk
Check
about
that
it.
win. Okay.
I won. Check it. Yeah. I wouldn't have brought the story up. I lost. But no, see, I beat him pretty bad. So the thing about it is you got to learn how to find some of your own mentors.
Okay.
And so I believe the relationship I was in for a long time, that lasted a long time, was because I think really her aunt was mentoring me and teaching me a lot of the spiritual things, the aunt and the uncle. So I had people that would help and lift me up and take me to another level. I had real estate people that I connect to, like Bill Hires, that taught me how to do subject twos and assignments and all these type things when I was like 23 and 24 years flipping old. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So I'm doing this stuff at a young age because I would always find somebody. And when I realized people love teaching other people, even when they selfish, because at the end of the day, it still helps their legacy live on. They can say, I helped him do that. And so that's how I just began to go up. Now, I know I need to pray about it and find who is going to be my pastoral mentor, who's going to help take me to this next level of ministry that I need to help. But so many people want money all the time. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to pay people, but I don't want it to be a transactional relationship.
Right.
Like, if you help me, I'm going to give you something, because my thing is, as a pastor, I give you intangibles that take you to the next level, and y'all give me tangibles. People bless me, the church pay me, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I don't want a transactional relationship with whoever. I need a mentor. I need somebody to help me go to the next level, and you got to know when you need it.
And it's big to say you need it, because a lot of people don't, especially men. I commend you for that. I need it
because my thing is, I feel like I got prophetic gifts like Corn. I got take you how to money like Creflo Dollar, help get you loose like T.D. Jakes, help you have breakthroughs like Rod Parsley. I feel like I have a lot of different gifts that are there, but I got to find somebody who can help me hone in on those things. And maybe they don't have all the gifts, but I know I need it and I need to be in prayer for it. So you just got to know and be humble enough to know you got to find somebody. If your parents can't do it, if your friends can't do it, if people around you can't do it, you need to find somebody that can help push you and take you to that next level. And you got to find the right person. Like Tiger Woods. I love Tiger Woods, but I heard this man talk. Tiger Woods beat people by 13, 14 strokes.
Wow.
Then he went and got two different people to teach him to get better, but he got worse because those people weren't, to me, great teachers. Like, I know he was trying to get better, but he got worse, and then he went into a slump. And so even if you the greatest, if you looking for somebody to help take you to the next level, but you got to find somebody that's still operating on a level higher than you. And I believe, Tiger Woods would have kept playing on his own. He would have won more titles. Sorry.
Even thinking of playing on, let's even use that analogy. Let's use that because him playing on his own and natural talent and ability, you can sometimes be seated at the foot of the wrong person. And so thinking about the gifts that you already have and being able to hone in on those, do you think that could come in this season if a mentor is not found in whatever time frame you've given yourself? You like to throw fleeces at God, be like, look, Lord, you want me to do this, this, and this. But if one isn't found, I truly believe that where you're going, the Holy Spirit being your teacher, you will be able to teach people even if you don't feel that you've been naturally taught.
Yeah, I feel like I can because David, he was in the wilderness and he pretty much was raised hand by God. You know, his father rejected him. The king rejected him. He had to run away in the woods. He was all by himself. I feel like God can do it, and he does, but I know I need to figure out and find that, that person. I just feel like I need to do it if I want to.
I'm sure you will. I'm not believing that you won't, but I'm just listening to your analogy with Tiger and finding the wrong people. And so if there's someone that's out here who's struggling wherever they're planted currently in this season, how would you help them? What is some advice you could give them? Because it's easy to say, oh, leave that church, but then they have nowhere else to go. And then they start living wayward, or they backslide. So how do you help someone who's feeling stagnant, who feels like they need to go to the next level, but they're not with someone or under someone or walking alongside and submitted to someone who can really take them there? What would you say?
I say if you repot a plant too often, it ain't going to grow because you don't have it planted in any soil.
Okay.
And so when you're not sure you need to leave, you need to sit still until you hear something clearly to leave. Because you cannot grow if you continue to repot yourself over and over and over again. And so right now, because I don't know who it is, I talk to several different people, and maybe several different people that I continue to talk to, but I'm not going to make a move until I really hear 100% certain, especially when you continue to bear fruit. Because you can bear fruit and plant plants in manure because they put manure in there to make the grass greener. So maybe you're supposed to be in manure at that time and learn everything you shouldn't be doing. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's good. Like I learned a lot about being a principal under the principal that knew a lot. But I think I learned more being under the principal that didn't know nothing. Because I began to see all the things I should not do.
Did it force you to study? It forced you to research. It forced me to study, but it forced me to see what wasn't right. And so I knew what not to do, what I didn't need to do. And sometimes when you know that, that's good. Because in basketball, if you don't know the rules and you foul somebody, you just get the ball and run and don't dribble. If you don't know the rules, you're going to always get called and you're not going to make any progress. So a lot of times it's just knowing what not to do. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway.
So where did your books come from?
My books came out of New Beach Grove and leadership and pain. That's why I said leadership, growth, the power, and the pain. Yeah. Because he said he would give 100-fold to you in his lifetime with persecution. Now, one person wanted to be messy. My dude said, I thought you were going to get more of the dirt because I do all the story. Bishop, I can't think of his name. Maybe I ain't supposed to say his name. Maybe he blocking it in the spirit.
We don't. Man. Yeah, let's not say that.
Man, help me, man.
We don't want this to be. Anyway. We don't want it to be flagged. We're not gonna say.
Yeah, whatever. I can't think of his name, man. Courtney McBeth. He said, Bishop Courtney Bell, he said, man, I thought you were going to put more of the person. I was just waiting to read it because I just knew you were going to tell more of the stories. So maybe I do a part 2 and tell the story because he wanted me to put the stories out there. Because I would call him and text me in the middle of the night. Like, man, I'm going to kill all these niggas.
But we need to hear that. So please.
He wanted me to put it in there. I said, man, I want to be good. You know, you always tell me to be good. Now you telling me to be bad.
No, you're being good because you're being honest, and the truth will set you free.
Man, God. So anyway, man, it was crazy.
It's called, let's repeat it because I want people to go.
It's called Leadership, Growth, the Power, and the Pain.
And you can find it on willardmaxwell.org as well.
And I want to always say this. Remember, Antipas Harris was on my show, and I got mad because he said, well, anywhere books are sold, and I couldn't say it. Now I can say it. Or anywhere books are sold. Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target, wherever you go, there I am.
That's crazy.
I wanted to say that so bad. I was so salty. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't like hating. But I was like, no, this dude ain't going to be on my show and be able to say anywhere books are sold. And I can only say it's sold on willardmaxwell.org.
Anywhere.
Now, anywhere books are sold.
Anywhere.
There I am.
So
there I go.
So you're saying that this book was birthed and the chapters were written through through these past seasons that you've had at New Beach.
Everywhere. Because I mean, some of it came from being a principal. Some of it came from sports. A lot of it came from New Beach Grove. Because the thing about it is, man, and
be honest.
The thing about it is, when I got here, man, so I used to write down all these stories, man. I had so many stories about all the stuff I dealt with when I was regular teaching or being the assistant principal or principal. I said, yeah, man, so when I preach, I'll be able to pull these examples out and so I can pastor. And when I started pastoring, I was like, I don't need none of them old stories. I got new stories. These people give me hell right here. I can tell a story here. And so I would tell stories and use them examples because I was being transparent, and people get mad like, I ain't call your name. Are you mad because you the villain in the story? Did you just see yourself and see the truth about you?
A hit dog a holler.
I'm right, but I didn't say their name. So my thing is, if you be quiet, nobody will know. If you make noise, they will. And sometimes I wouldn't even know. I would preach a sermon and people come to me, I ain't even say that, so-and-so said that, and they would tell on themselves. Because God would be preaching and bringing his word through me. Mm-hmm. And it would just uproot some things that was going on.
Like a two-edged sword.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know all their names at that time. So I didn't even know what them people were doing most of the time. And they just come tell on themselves.
How do you deal with I don't want to say betrayal, but I feel like that's the word that I like to use in a nice way.
That's cool.
So how does that work for you in pastoring and in friendship? Because you've seen friends sometimes become foes. So how does that work for you with the growth and the pain and the growing pains?
I mean, the thing about it is you just got to understand how God dealt with people in the temple. On the outside of the temple, the Gentiles. A little further in, the Jews, the female Jews, then the male Jews would go further, then the Sanhedrin, the high priest, then only one priest would go in the Holy of Holies.
The outer and the inner courts.
Right, and only one priest in the Holy of Holies, then if they weren't right, then they might even die on the way in there.
Oh, right, because the rope on their foot and pull them back out.
Pull them back. Yeah, ring the bell, boom, pull them out. And so my thing is, you have to be careful. You got to let people in layers. And you can't let everybody in your Holy of Holies. You can't let everybody in your inner court. You can't have too many people in your inner court because you're not going to have that many true friends. Especially, you got to find people that's successful on your level or more successful than you, because people are intimidated when you going further than them sometimes. And you finding a mentor, my thing is, you can't find a father or a mother that needs you. You got to find a father or mother in the ministry that wants you. Because if you find somebody that needs you, you'll get molested in the spirit.
Yeah.
Because they need you to come up. And so I started realizing that even my old church, they were telling him to hold me back. And so when he was writing letters of recommendation, they weren't really writing them to make me get a church. They write them certain ways. So when I came to New Beach Grove, God said, don't use there. He said, you want to recommend? I said, no. He told me to use some other people And then I got the job, probably more so because I didn't use a recommendation because they were trying to hold me there. And what people need to understand is when you're gifted, people want to keep your gift there.
Oh, they're
lose
selfish.
right. And
They're
so me,
selfish
that's
with
why
you.
I always care, man. I'm like, hey man, if you wanna be free, go be free. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's like people say, why you let Walden preach? Why you let them do it? Why you help them get ready to go other places? Like, cause that's my job. My job is to make disciples and help people go further than me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I believe that's why the Lord blesses you as
he does.
well, because of your selflessness and because of your foresight. And I think it's funny when we're talking about these stories. We're talking about your glasses or you not having glasses. You pick up the letter and you can barely read. You know, did you get this and those things? But you've always been able to see in the spirit. Even when we're just making jokes and making light of you not wearing your natural glasses. Can you talk about the importance of that in relation to where it's taken you, or being able to kind of see in the moments where you couldn't see?
Spiritually, I use God in every aspect of my life, and it's funny how I made a post about how God told me to buy this house and sell this house like $30,000-$40,000 below market value,
Wow.
and I didn't want to because I wanted to make all the money, but that's what he told me to do, and I made a post about it. I think Brother Eugene helped me put a post together. I put it out there, and this one guy wrote on my wall, "God don't help you with business. You a false prophet. Blah 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 blah."
Where are you at today?
And I'm like, at the end of the day, first of all, if I didn't talk to God, I definitely wouldn't have sold it for $40,000 less than I could have
Come
made
on.
it. And my thing is, in all thy ways, acknowledge him. So you have to acknowledge him in everything you do. Some people only pray to God when they're going to sleep or pray to God when they're about to eat. Dude, you need to pray to God about everything and let him order your steps in his word. And so I pray to God with business. The only time the only house that I ever had a whole bunch of crazy mess with was 1466 Panola Road, because God never told me to purchase that house. I was making so much money, and I bought it. I didn't consult him because I didn't want my brother's girlfriend at the time to buy it because we want to use it as our office, and I felt like when they get to argument, it's gonna be drama.
The same place your printer was.
Right. So
In the letter.
Right.
Okay.
So I didn't. So I bought it. God never told me to buy it. I got stuck with that house for years. God told me to sell all my houses before I got here. I didn't even know why. But when he told me to sell it, I ended up pastoring here. I sold all my houses, liquidated all of them, but the only one I had was Panola Road. The only reason I got paid on the house because my brother was I accidentally burnt the house down. And then, you know, when you burn a house down or you burn it down, it's total. So you get like 150% of the value. So you get 100% plus 50 more percent. And so
Don't y'all go burning houses down. It's not going to work for you.
It's not. Don't do it.
It's not going to work.
And so the insurance company did an investigation, extensive investigation, realized it was an accident. It wasn't me. It wasn't my fault. But they said, don't ever come to us for no house insurance again. I was like, cool, dude.
They paid you, got rid of you.
Yeah, but they still insure my cars. But they like, no more houses for you.
You're a liability.
Yeah, we love you, but we know it wasn't your fault. It definitely was your brother. He wrote it up. He said, we always got that one. That's what the two told me when he assessed it. I'll make sure they know it definitely wasn't your fault, but we don't want you no more. So I was like, cool.
But even out of that house, you didn't pray about and you had all of these different things happen. There were still blessings that came out of there.
Yeah, it was.
And so there's constant redemption in your life. There's constant turnaround, promotion, favor. Like God's grace and his mercy has just been on you. Wow. I want to say more than anyone that I ever know, but we're talking deeply about your story. So I wonder, how many people out there, if you have similar stories or similar things, this is also a message to you that you're not too late. You're never too far, You're never too rebellious, too angry, too frustrated. You've never suppressed it so much that God can't rejuvenate and restore. And I love that. I like just listening to you, and even the times where you're out and you're with your friends, you're like, hey, I'm not going to go on with y'all. but this, and this is going to happen. So how would you, or what's something you could say to someone who's not called to pastor and necessarily be in a pulpit or on a stage with a mic, and they do have those friends that are still in the streets, that are still doing X, Y, and Z, and they'd rather just separate themselves. They're listening in their car to Kirk Franklin and riding by themselves and saying, well, forget y'all. How do you talk to someone? And I'm not going to use the word balance, because I don't think the two are equal. And if you're trying to balance something, that's saying that it's even. But how could you really minister to someone in this moment and just say, hey, don't forget them. Reach back and still attempt to save them, even if it's not bringing them necessarily to salvation or to Christ, but just saving their life to give them a chance. If you save them today for the possibility of salvation tomorrow. The ones that are fed up, the friends that are like, I'm done with the street life. I'm done being in the gangs. I'm done dealing with these types of people. How do you talk to those people? What could you say to encourage them to not forget?
I mean, you just gotta, be led by the Holy Spirit. Like me, I had one friend, he smoked all the time. And so I knew how, and I couldn't smoke no more. So not saying nothing wrong, because it's legal to do what you do, but that ain't something I want to do. And so I'll be like, hey man, it's so-and-so there. I'm really asking, is his child there? And he say, nah, man, I don't want to say the child name because people know. No, little Junior is with grandma. And I knew not to go over there, because if he said Junior to grandma, that means he sent him over there because he got to smoke.
On purpose.
So then if I say, hey, man, what Junior, man, how you doing? Oh, man, he in the house. I say, oh, man, I'm about to stop by there. Then I go, because I know he ain't going to smoke
with
when
his
the
child
kids in the house. He'll smoke when they gone. So anytime they gone, I'm just going to assume they smoking, because that's when they smoke. They ain't gonna never smoke with the kids.
There's a system.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So I knew when I could go. So you gotta understand what's your safe place. You know what I'm saying? And so I just know certain people that I reach back and we talk now. Some people I still don't talk to this day, because they still, living certain lives that ain't gonna do nothing but be bad on me.